Okay, I'm full of shit. And I in my video about Hungry Ghosts, um, you can be forgiven for thinking I was being hard on myself. The point there, though, was not to be hard on myself, not to beat myself up. There was no like significant distress. It was more like relief, more just like, look here. This is where you need to look. This is where you need to go. Um, and yeah, it was a sense of, you know, relief, also some fear, maybe some trepidation, but also courage because I know ultimately I can go there. Ultimately, I'll go anywhere that truth points me to. Maybe because that's what sort of the subject of this video, which is that I'm still full of hate and fear about people I perceive to be full of hate and fear. I really do hate them. And hate's not necessarily a bad thing. It's an emotion. It's a sensation mixed with thoughts. It's a pointer. Obviously, somebody can act on their hate and do bad things, but hate itself isn't necessarily a problem. I hate licorice. I hate sweet pickles. I don't think that's ever going to change, but who knows? But I mean, the point is like somebody came on my Facebook comment, which wasn't even about trans people. It was about the fact that sex itself, like XX, XY, triple X, X naught, there's like so many different variants of chromosomes. That generally it's XX, XY. That's the vast majority, but there's other variants, right? Um, and it was just like, hey, look, like people who say there's no such thing other, I mean, it's a clear binary XXXY. Like, look at sex alone. It's not a clear binary. To say nothing of um, uh, hormonal effects, to say nothing of genetic, things turned on or off. Even with, even if you have the proper chromosomes, something might be turned off and then you get something else. And then gender is another subject too. So it's like, it's really complex. It's not simple. So it seems. And this person was like making a bunch of pedantic points and bringing up everything about how, oh, well, trans people, you shouldn't erase women who are afraid of trans people in bathrooms and in prisons. And it's like, I'm not erasing anyone, dude. If there's a predator, they should be dealt with. But trans people are not predators, just like Palestinians are not terrorists. Does it happen? I'm sure it does. There are criminals among every demographic, but this conflation of trans people with predators really pisses me off. Not only I mean, because it's wrong, but also because it's exactly the playbook that, the Nazi Germany, they sort of marginalized one group after another until it was everyone, until they were killing their own people. And so sort of falling into this right wing trap of like, oh, here's some propaganda about the dangers of trans people, and just sort of like bringing it up, like, what about this every time it's even meant or not even not mentioned. Anyway, point is, I got really upset at this guy. He became kind of an avatar of all the people who are just mindlessly spewing hatred, and it kind of activated some feelings of hatred in me. Even though I don't hate this guy, I mean, how should I say? I don't hate the guy, but I was feeling hate because of what he was doing. But like all the racist, homophobes, transphobes, Islamophobes, misogynists, it's like there's no logical basis for believing those things, and it's incredibly harmful to real people in real time. And it makes me so angry. It it's like like induction, like this, there's a current over here and it induces the current over here, and I'm over here hating them for hating trans people. And of course he's like, "Oh, I don't hate anyone. I'm just pointing out some," and it's like, dude, you're regurgitating propaganda. Stop. But yeah, I can feel it being induced in me, and I've kind of been on a little bit of a news binge lately because everything's just going fucking crazy on every level. And it's scary. It's like I might need to leave the country. Although Marco Rubio might soon have the ability to take my passport away if I say something that he doesn't like. That's terrifying. Might be trapped here in a fucking madhouse. But everywhere's kind of a madhouse these days. It's like there's no like, oh, this country's sane. It's like even Denmark is being fascist about people who are um, protesting the Palestine genocide. Even Amsterdam, even the Netherlands. Um, Spain isn't bad, Ireland isn't bad, but yeah, it's worrisome. And then of course, if things go too off the rails and our savings are worthless, because that happened to people in Russia with certain um, calamities. It's just the ruble went down to nothing, and then people lost everything they'd worked for their entire lives in a matter of days. It's part of the reason that I've never cared that much about money. It's like get enough to live, and then like you have nothing to lose. Um, so yeah, but I mean the powers that be are making it harder and harder to even just do that, even just make enough money to live, to exist. It's really, really sad. And again, I don't know, maybe it's all for the best. You've got to go through some crucible of some bullshit to wake people up in certain ways. It's got to get real bad before it gets better. But who designed that system anyway? Who made us these like stupid fucking idiots who never learn anything except the hard way? And a few of us can learn not the hard way, but nobody listens to us. Nobody cares. And there's my ego saying I'm better than other people. Smarter. Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Maybe it's all for the best in a way my little mind can't perceive. But I can feel that hatred getting induced, and I get seduced by it. There's a part of me that would rather hate than actually take a breath and sit down and humanize people who dehumanize other people. And I know I'm a hypocrite. And I know it's not actually going to bring peace to anyone to just keep stay in that game. But it feels so ineffectual to just like do 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 live my little life so happy. Every time I get close to it, something happens to kind of pull me out of it, or some backlash happens because it's like, oh no 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 wait, I gotta pay attention. I gotta. Oh yeah, these people, they're being really hateful and dangerous. I gotta do something about that. I think it parallels being a child when my parents were so dysfunctional, and anytime I was kind of happy as a child, it would eventually come to my attention that like, oh, my parents are kind of fucked up. I gotta pay attention to that. I gotta deal with that. And it was easier to kind of hate them than to keep giving them love that what they didn't know how to reciprocate. And I know you're supposed to give love unconditionally. I mean, that's the aim, to be a source of love, not a sinkhole, not someone out looking for it, needing it. but that activates childhood wounds for sure, because being an infinite source, being as a child, being a source of love without getting anything in return sucks. And I'm letting myself feel my frustration that childhood stuff is still present. I could probably use some more circling. I'm planning on joining a Wachuma ceremony this weekend. I feel like I kind of want to get as cleaned out as I can before then. I'm trying to feel as deeply into everything as I can, especially this blockage in my throat that feels like kind of it cut my head off a long time ago, or cut my body off from my head. I can feel in my body quite a bit, but I wonder what it would be like if this blockage was, whatever is supposed to happen. I don't know. I don't know what to do about the blockage. I feel into it as deeply and as often as I can. And the gripping in my gut and the fire in my chest, that hatred. Because it, yeah, I can't count on anything from people who are so immature. Like my parents were so immature. Okay, so the answer to be immature myself, to stay immature myself as an adult, as a grown adult. Part of me wants to yell and stamp my feet finally. I wasn't allowed to do that as a kid. Smack somebody around instead of getting smacked. Tell somebody to shut the hell up when they're out of fucking line. I'm not sure what the answer is. I think I just have more feelings to feel. There's still so much heaviness in the body. And kind of without a stable identity, it just kind of swirls around. And there's no one to know, like, what do I do with this? So I just try to stay as present as possible until I get caught up in something else, some other drama or obligation or distraction. I think this is kind of ninth fetter stuff. Like, I don't think it's as simple as like you break it and you're done. It's like it's a it's its own like, you know, stock market graph that hopefully trends downward over time. Um, right now, something's goosing the market a little. This should not be like this. This needs to change. I need to fix it. It keeps coming back to that. It's just hard to. Even just reading Annie Dillard's book, Pilgrim at Tinker Creek, wonderful book. She says like 10% of all species are parasites, and some of them are like pretty disgusting, and some of them are like endemic, and like certain species are just full of parasites all the time. Here's my hummingbird friend. Um, and it's like, why is that necessary? Why do you need that many parasites? That many blood flukes and fucking horsehair worms and everybody sucking each other and chomping each other and why not? What the hell do I know about building a universe or an ecosystem or a political history of a very young species? We're all toddlers. We all want to stomp our feet in hate right now, I guess. And we're feeding off each other. Maybe it's exactly what needs to happen. So, do I need to stop trying to be peaceful? Just join the hate fest? I guess I'll do what I do, knowing I'm nothing special. It doesn't really matter. No skin off my nose. Just watching a fucking show, I guess. And all of that I'm just doing is like focusing on sort of like if, the so-called good and bad, even though we don't really know what's good or bad, but it's easy to get all focused in on the worst things. That's such a human tendency. And forget that, like, any given person, I probably agree with them on 90% of things, even if we disagree on 10%. And it's quite churlish to ignore the buds of spring and the hummingbirds and the butterflies when I'm complaining about everything the creator apparently got wrong. In my mind, that the creator created. What's Why are we created to resent our creation? What sense does that make? And a non-dual teacher would say like, "Oh, we are not created to do that at all." I'm sorry, I'm doing Francis Lucille for some reason. Um, we are here to worship and experience God through love or whatever. I don't even know who that was. Combination of Rupert Spira and Lisa Cairns. Sometimes that I'm going to say mindless positivity. Mindless. Isn't that the goal? But sometimes it pisses me off. It's like, no, there's some shit that sucks. Some stuff that seems like it needs attention. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to come to any conclusion anytime soon. It's just like, I mean, I know, I'm just right now, just like blah, 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 making up stories. I think the important bit is to feel those feelings, feel the hatred, let it sing through my system, feel that clamping in my throat, that swallowing of genuine feelings. When I feel the clinch in my gut, sometimes it starts turning to bliss, and then my mind will distract me before it gets too far. And I suppose all of that is fine, just what's happening. And I'll turn this off before it gets too long.